Hello everyone, my name is Tony Picciano, and what we're going to do today is a training video on our SX series body machines. And right here we're showing the SX-50. And what I'm going to do today is basically go over the functionality and how to operate the machine. Patricia's going to come in on the second half of the training and show you some protocols on pad placements. Right here's our SX-50. It's an 8-channel body system. And it's fairly simple to use. And I'm going to show you basically how to operate it, from plugging it in to getting it set up ready to apply the pads on your client. First thing you want to do to get the machine ready is, obviously there's a plug that goes in the back, and the power cord plugs into the back of the machine. There's also a switch back there with a 0 and a 1. The switch is a master switch that turns off the machine. And when you hit the start button, it will not come on if that master switch in the back is on 0. So that master switch should be on number 1 in order for the machine to come on when you hit the power button here. So the first thing you do is plug it in, hit the master switch to the number 1 position, and turn on the power button. Give it a few seconds and the machine powers up. Now, the machine is on at this time, but however it's not in its treatment mode. You see, because to put it in treatment mode, you would need to hit the start-stop button. The start-stop button starts the treatment session and stops the treatment session. Okay, the machine does have a timer that you can set the session anywhere from any time you want. We run anywhere from 20 to 40 to 50-minute sessions. You program that. I'm going to show you how to program this timer. When the timer runs out and hits 0, the machine automatically stops. So we're going to show you how to put the machine in ready mode, and also how to disable the machine so it's safe to touch the pads on your client after you're done with the treatment. First thing I'm going to show you what to do is how to set the timing of the session. And if you can see this here right now, it's preset to 20 minutes. I wanted to change that. There's a left arrow that scrolls to the position digit that you need to change. So if I wanted to say, for example, change it to 30-minute session, I would scroll over to the number 2 digit here, right? So I would hit the left arrow, and you can see it's blinking there, until I get to the 2. And then I hit the up arrow to go up in position, hit the red save button, voila, it is now set for 30 minutes. If I wanted to go back to 20 minutes, again, I hit the left arrow until I hit the blinking 3. Hit the up arrow. If you notice, it's going up 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to pass all the way over to the number 1, number 2. Hit the red button, and now that saves it. Timer is really easy to set. And the good thing about this timer is you can change the setting of the timing during the middle of the treatment. Say you wanted to add another 5 minutes to your treatment, you can do that. You can add some more time or take away time while the treatment's going. So you can make that you have that feature with this machine. Okay, so now we have the timer set. We're doing a 20-minute session. The next thing you want to do to get your machine ready for the treatment session is to set the frequency. The frequency is your program that controls how deep the treatment's going to be, everything from superficial cellulite all the way down to muscle building. The higher the number, 1,000 or 1,500, that's more superficial, and 200 goes very deep. It's the depth, goes down deeper into the muscle for a very strong, intense treatment. There's several different protocols in the book, everything from endurance to intense muscle building. In this training video, we're going to show you the basic startup mode on how you're going to do most of your treatments to get started, okay? Because this particular mode pretty much covers all the protocols from superficial skin treatments all the way to muscle. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out at usually about 1,000 for the first 5 minutes of the treatment. So I'm going to set the machine to 1,000, okay? The next thing I'm going to look at are these 2 knobs here. These 2 knobs here are your contraction pulse on and your contraction rest time. You can control the length of the rest time, and you can control the length how long the contraction holds by moving these buttons from left to right, this knob from left to right. Now on the SX-50, you can hold up to 4 seconds on the contraction, or you can hold up to 1 second on the contraction, depending on what you set the contraction hold mode for. Here's the contraction hold, or the pulse on. For starters, for most of your protocols, until you really get used to the machine, put everyone in about a 3.5 second, maybe a 4 second contraction hold, and a 3 second or a 2.5 second rest time. That's all a little bit more than 2-to-1 ratio, but that's pretty much going to cover all of your protocols to get started with. Okay, there's more in the book you can read on how that works. Like if I give a shorter contraction rest time, maybe a 2-second rest time, now I'm going to have more endurance. I'm going to have more contractions per minute. Keep it right now for about a 3-second off and a 4-second contraction, and this way until you get used to working with the machine. Okay. Now we set it for 1,000. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is make sure that all your switches are in the off position. So how do you tell that the switches are in the off position? Very simple. There's lights. On the SX-50, if the blue light is on, that means the channel's on and the machine won't start. Okay? In order to function this machine, the lights must all be off before you start the session. Otherwise, the machine won't work. It's a safety feature. Okay, so now let's review and double check, because right now the machine should be ready to start hooking up your client. Even though the machine's on, the contractions are not running because it's green, ready to start. Okay, when it's red, when the start-stop button's red, that means it's on. Okay, you can see the contraction indicator saying that it's on. Okay, it's flashing. So we don't want to be in that mode when we're applying the pads. You want this to be in the off mode, and the lights all to be off. I check my timer, I check my contraction, it's off, my pulse on and pulse off is set, and my frequency depth is set. I'm ready now, all the channels are off, I'm ready now to take my cables and my pads and start placing them on to the client. Patricia's going to show you those protocols. I'm just going over the machine functionality right now. Okay? All right, now, let me show you another thing. Once you connect your all the pads to your client, you're ready to start the machine. Say you already have all the pads connected, which Patty will show you. You now triple check all your settings. Now you're ready to start the session. Start button's on, contractions on. I'm now ready to turn on the channels. You see, now they're off, right? Because all the lights are off. I'm ready to turn them on. The way you turn them on is you hit the button ever so easily till you get to 0, because you don't want to turn it past 0 to start. You want to get everything on to 0. Just do it very lightly, just to the 0. Okay? If you're only using 4 channels, depending on what protocol you're doing, you only want the channels on that you're using. All right? So now that it's pulsing and it's on, your timer's counting down, you're checking with your client. Do you feel anything? They're going to say no because we're at 0. Or they might feel a little tingle, who knows, depending. Now it's time to ramp it up. What I like to do is, it depends on the person working the machine, I like to do 2 channels at one time. What you like to do is go up 5% every increment. And you have numbers from 1 to 10 on the machine. 1 would be 10%, 10 would be 100%. So I'm going to go right to the first line, and that's 5%. So I'm going to set these to the first line. You see, that's 5%. I'm going to talk to my client. You feel anything? Oh, I might feel a tingle or a tickle. Fine. The way this machine works is you increase it till you get to the level that's effective where you can see a good contraction. Patricia's going to show you that in the other portion of the training. Okay? So, you know, maybe every few minutes, every 3 to 5 or 6 minutes, you want to increase the intensity, which this is your intensity setting, this is your depth. This is how intense the contraction is, and this is how deep it goes. Say I'm a few minutes into the treatment, I'm going to raise it up another 0.5%. So now I'm at 10%. Do it real slowly, okay? Because you don't want to give a rapid increase. You want to give a comfortable rise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase it very slowly, like so. Now I'm increasing it to 15%. Talking to my client at the same time, making sure that, explaining to them that we're going to start to challenge you, you're going to start to feel a good contraction. I give them a few minutes if it's a first timer to acclimate to the new settings. Another 5 minutes pass or another 7 minutes pass. At this point, at about 15%, I'm going to go down in depth. I'm going to go down to 600 because now we're going to go deeper in the treatment. Now we're going to start treating more deeper towards from visceral to from superficial fat to muscle. Take the frequency when it's off. Now the only time you want to move this button selector is when it's red in the off position because you want to make a nice smooth transition. So I'm going to wait till it turns red. Bam, went down to 600 while it's off. That's the only time you want to move that. Okay, so just remember that on the selector switch. So now we're down to 600 on the treatment. The treatment is a little bit more intense for them because we've gone a little deeper. You're going to talk to your client. You're going to ask them, hey, how do you feel? We're going to go a little deeper. So, and they're going to say, yeah, I feel a little bit more contraction. You let them acclimate to this new depth. Another few minutes into the treatment, you start to increase it more. Go up another 5%. Now we're going to go up to 20. I like to do 2 at a time because it works out a nice even rise. Now I'm at 20%. At this stage of the game, at 600, I should be seeing a good contraction on most people. All depends on the body size, more or less. If you have a leaner person, you're going to see the contractions more readily versus someone who has a lot of visceral fat. Oh, I'm sorry, has a lot of adipose tissue. Few minutes into the treatment, pass. I'm talking to my client. They're very comfortable. At this stage of the game now, I'm going to probably drop down to 400, okay? Because I'm at 20% now. What am I going to do? I'm going to wait till the light goes to red. That's the off, the contraction is off. Bam. I just went down to 400. All right, so now here, I'm pretty much going to stay at 400. You don't need to go to 200 unless you want to really challenge someone. I recommend that usually for not the first timer, for someone who's come in for a few treatments. This way they're used to it and they know what to expect because 200 is pretty intense. You want to reserve that for your client that's come in for maybe 2 or 3, 4 sessions, okay? Because at this, from this level, from 1,000 to 400, we're covering pretty much a broad scope of our protocols, you see. So you're doing everything from superficial skin toning all the way down to muscle building, muscle toning, okay? I leave it at 400 for another few more minutes. I'm going to talk to my client. I'm going to increase the intensity. He's going to start challenging you, okay? And the reason why I use the word challenge is because you want to let your customer know the best way they're going to see results is if you challenge them. You want to let them know. You want to see a good squeeze because that's going to give them the best results. That's the way the machine's going to work. So at this point, I'm going to go up another 5% to 25. And I would see how my customer does. If I'm getting a good contraction at this, I may just leave it for the rest of the treatment or I may go up to 30 or 35. Either way, you communicate with your client to see where you're at. Okay? There we go. I have 14 minutes left on this, 20-minute treatment. I'm not going to do the whole thing. You get your feel on every few minutes how you do your increases and your transitions with your client. Normally you want to do, especially the first time, a 40-minute treatment because you really want to give your first-time customer a really good experience with the machine. Okay? At this point, I'm going to just jump right to the end of the treatment because when the timer counts down and it goes to 0, the machine is going to stop automatically like this. It's off, the machine stops, the timer resets back to the initial setting that you set it for, in this case 20 minutes. What do we do at this stage? Well, at this stage you want to disconnect your cables and pads from your client, but we want to make sure we put the machine in safe mode, and the way we do that is you turn all the knobs so that all the lights are off, and then you hit the start-stop button so it's green. Green means it's safe to touch. Red means it's active. Okay? When it's green, it's not contracting. It's ready to start a new session. See, it says to start. When it's red, it says to stop, means that's to stop the session. So now you're ready. Everything's off. even though the machine's on, because it's in safe mode, because its indicator is off, the lights are off, you can now touch the cables and you can remove the pad safely. Okay? So that's pretty much the functionality of the machine. I want to go over some other features that you need to know. For example, it's best if the machine sits on a hard surface because it has vents underneath it. It needs to breathe in order to stay cool. So you want to keep it on a hard surface. Another thing you want to remember is you want to make sure you plug all the cables in, all the way in. Make sure they're all the way in before you connect the pads to the client. You want the cables plugged in. All right? And in safe mode or off. What you don't want to do is, say the machine is active. Right now it's starting. And then I have it on some of the channels. What you don't want to do is remove any cables. I don't care if the channels are off. If the machine is in pulse mode, you don't want to add more cables or channels or remove any cables or channels while the machine is running. Safety feature is just make sure it's off before. So if you have to add more channels or more pads to the client, you have to start from the beginning again. Safety feature. Another safety feature is this. Say, for example, you have it on 100% or 10, and you accidentally hit the start button. The machine doesn't come on. The reason is its safety feature. It won't let you start the machine at 100%. It forces you to turn everything off to 0 before the machine starts. In fact, not only to 0, you got to turn it so that it switches and the light is off. As you can see, when I turn it off, the machine is now comes on, okay, and it's ready to set. So one thing you want to do is, before you turn the channels on, before you hit the start button, you want to make sure the lights are off. Because one mistake I have a lot of people do, they keep calling me on this, is that they set their setting to 5%, and then they hit the start button, they call me up and say, how come the machine's not working? Well, it's not working because you did it backwards. You're supposed to turn off everything, hit the start button, now you can ramp it up, okay? Patty's going to show you how that works when she sets the protocols for you. All right, that's the sequence. When everything is off, it is safe to now remove the pads from the client. Okay? That's the sequence on how to start the machine, and I also went over the sequence how to stop the machine. I also showed you some of the safety features of the machine. There's another feature to the machine that it has, is a client stop switch. No one ever uses it, but it's here. It plugs in the back of the machine, in the port in the back. When you start your session and then you have your channels on, you can give this to your client. They hit the red switch, bam, the machine stops. No one uses it, but it's there. Okay? I'm going to go over some of the accessories with the machine. The machine comes with a few different accessories. It comes with, the SX-50 comes with 8 body cables. It comes with 12 body straps, 16 large and 16 small pads, and also the stop switch. I'm going to show you how these pads connect on to our cables. Very simple. We have 2 types of pads we use. We have our reusable pads, and these are a microfiber pad, and basically they're self-disinfecting. They got colloid silver. What we do is they can be washed in between treatments. We have an antimicrobial. We have an ultraviolet warmer that we use to disinfect them. You can use the same thing at your facility. What we do is, the pads work when they're wet. So what we do is, you take them under the sink and you run water. Then you drench them until they're completely wet. You take it and you wring it out like you wring out a sponge, and now it has the proper wetness it needs. When it's wet, you take the plate. This is the conductive plate that goes inside the pad. Okay, if you notice, the plate's got a snap or a nipple on one end. That end's got to be towards the non-conductive side. You got two sides to this pad. You got the microfiber soft side. That's what gets applied to the body. And you have the nylon side, which is non-conductive. This snap needs to be facing the back of the pad, like so. Okay? It faces the back of the pad. You push it all the way in so it's deep, because what you don't want is you don't want the plate partially sticking out when it's on the skin, because it could give them discomfort if they feel that plate on the skin. So you want it all the way in the pad, and you make sure it's all the way in. You take the snaps. You got medical snaps here, and they snap onto the plates like so. Patricia's going to show you how to place these pads. Basically, you take these pads when they're snapped in and right into the belt that holds it in. Okay, she's going to show you how that works. What I like to do to make it very fast, I already have the belt on the client. If I'm doing an abdominal hookup, I snap it in and place it at the same time. That makes it very fast for hookups. Okay. Once you got your client all hooked up with the pads, and for whatever the protocol you're using, you have your client sit on the treatment chair, and now you're ready to start the machine. I'll go over the sequence again. Your client's ready. The pads are on. They're plugged in. The machine is on, but it's not contracting. Timer is set. All the channels are off. My pulse on and pulse off. Pulse on is for 4-second contraction, a 3-second rest time. I'm set at 1,000. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. My client's ready. I says everything look good. The pads are nicely placed. I'm ready now to hit the start button. Once everything's hooked up, hit the start, and I go through my process of starting to increase the amplitude to the proper setting till you see a good contraction. The machine stops. Turn everything off. You make sure it's ready green and it's off. Now you can take the pads off of your client, unsnap them, and put them in a disinfector, or clean them or rinse them out and then disinfect them, whatever you want to do. I'm going to show you some of the other accessories we have. We have these body straps, and these are the body straps we use to place the pads, to hold the pads in place. Patricia's going to show you the protocols, but it's real simple. You put the strap on, and what you do is you find the channel, snap it on, and then place it, of course, on the skin, not through the clothes, because it will not work through clothes. I'm just showing you how fast we can do this. Okay? Take it, snap it, and then place it. It's just like so. Okay? It's simple how the body pads work. Patricia's going to show you different pad placements when she goes over the protocols with you. We have another size pad. It's a little smaller. You can use the smaller pads depending on the size of your client. If you have a client that is smaller waisted or has a small arm, you can use these small pads. The small pads work great on the arms. Patricia's going to show you how to place them. Or you can use a combination of small and large pads, depending on your client. Okay? The more pads you place, the more intense the treatment's going to be. And Patricia's going to show you some different protocols for that. We have another accessory that's optional. These are disposable pads, and they're really neat because they really reduce the setup time. They're self-adhesive. You just peel and you stick. And they're really great. They work really nice because they give a nice smooth contraction, because they really adhere to the skin very well. And these particular pads are optional. You can buy them in a box of, we sell them in boxes of 80 pads. And they're real simple the way they hook up. It's the same thing. Okay, you want the machine in the ready state. It's not contracting, all the channels are off. You snap the pads, the cables onto the pads first, and then you peel them, and then you stick them right where they need to go, depending on what you're treating, like so. Patricia's going to show you how they work. Okay, but they're real fast, real simple, real easy. When you're using these disposable pads, they're a little more intense than the microfiber pads. So we don't allow you to do 200 depth with it because it's just too intense with these pads. Most people may not like it. So when you're using these disposables, keep the depth above 400. From 400 and above is fine for these pads. Don't use 200 with these self-adhesive pads. When you're done with the treatment, put the machine in safe mode. Turn off, make sure the start-stop is on green, turn off all the channels. And what I do is I don't pull the cable off the pad while it's on the client. I remove the pad, place it back on its holder, like so. Like so. And then now you just take it, and I just lift it like so. Okay? And that removes it safely off of the pad. You can reuse these for about 10 times for the same client. They're not to be used for different clients. You can package these for your clients who come in to buy a series, put their name on it and put it in a bag and save it for them. They're reusable. You want to make sure that the skin is clean and dry from oils. They'll last longer. They can last up to 10 or 20 treatments depending on how well you keep them. It's a conductive gel. If the gel starts drying out, you can spray a little water to reactivate it, but that's it. You can't clean these. You can't do anything to maintain them other than making sure that when you apply them on the skin's clean. Okay, and then they'll last longer. Other than that, they're disposable, and you can just buy a new set. All right. So I went over all the functions of the machine. I went over how to work the pads, how to place the pads, the plates, cleaning. You can use any type of disinfectant that's approved in your facility. Barbicide wipes work well in cleaning these. You can actually take these pads and you can actually throw them in the washing machine, these reusable pads, and in your dryer. Just can't use bleach, and you can't use fabric softener with them because that kind of deactivates the colloid silver. So, but they are reusable. I think that about concludes the operational functionality and safety features of the machine. Just wanted to wrap up and just say the importance of these cables. Make sure that they are fully plugged in, and that while the session is operating, you're not removing or adding more cables to the machine. Okay, the only time you can do that is when it's off or in safe mode or it's not contracting. Okay, and then you're able to apply the pads and you're able to remove the pads from your client. At this stage of the training, I'm going to turn you over to Patricia. Patricia's going to go over some of the pad placements on the body on different type of hookups like abdominal, a back, butt, or thighs and arms. And let me touch base with you real quick before I introduce Patricia on the protocols. I would say 90% of your customers are going to come in for back, butt, thighs, abdominal, and arms or triceps. Those are pretty much all the hookups you're going to do. I'm going to show you these hookups in the training, and that's pretty much going to be a lot to get started with, okay? And for example, we have several different types of abdominal hookups, from basic to more challenging. And we have different types of hookups for butt lifts that could be something from basic to challenging. And we also have different leg exercises and different types of arm toning protocols. Patricia's going to show you how all of that works, okay, in the protocol training, on how to place the pads And we're going to actually have a model, Jennifer. She's going to be our model for the video. So I'm going to turn you over to Patricia at this stage, okay? And thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to call Patricia. She's our training director. She can help answer any questions on any protocols or operation of the machines. All right? Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Patricia, and I'm Director of Sales and Training for Neurotris, and I'm here to show you some protocols on the body machines. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Jennifer. She's going to be our model for the protocols. I'm going to start with a basic abdominal protocol hookup. Hey, Jennifer, if you just want to turn my way. Oh, how's that going to work? But the first strap is going to go above her umbilical. Tiny little thing. And I will show them. And the other one goes lower to the umbilical. And I will show you this. Okay, so this is how the straps will go, one above the umbilical and one below. And now we'll be ready to do our pad placement. Okay, now we're going to show you how to do the basic abdominal pad placement. Again, I showed you how to put the plates in, so what we're going to do while she's standing, which is really good to do it, snap them in. And the basic abdominal protocol is up and down, and negative is always on top because the positive pulls towards the negative. So just insert it like that. So you have the conducting side, which is the soft side towards the skin. And the positive goes right below that. That way this is all going to pull up. On Jennifer, I'm using the smaller pads because she's thin. She wouldn't need the larger pads. Larger pads could be someone who's a little larger, and you can even use, if you want, if they're larger, the smaller pads, but you just may have to use more of them. But anyway, on her, you're definitely going to use small. I'm also going to be doing the obliques. As you can see, simple up and down. Obliques will also be up and down onto the sides. With, again, negative on top, positive on the bottom. And we have one more pad placement, and that will be on the side. Again, on the obliques. This is our basic abdominal protocol hookup. And the basic abdominal protocol that I have hooked up, I wanted to mention that each individual channel, we want to know where they're at. So in this one, I use channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. And the reason for know that, if I have to adjust any one of those channels, I will now know where they're at. And I will be able to adjust it. Okay, we're going to have Jennifer lie down on the table, and we're going to start the treatment.
Just lay down.
Yeah, just lay down. First, when you lie down, you want to make sure that the sometimes what happens in different positions, lying and standing, it can have to adjust the strap for it's tighter because it can get looser when they lay down. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is turn on the machine. There's your power. It's on. And now we're going to start the treatment. But first I want to check the frequency selector, which is how deep it goes into the muscle. And I'm going to start Jennifer out on 600. We hit a start. And then we turn each individual on. Just turn them all to 0 at first. And all this is like 0.51, or actually 10%, 15, 20, 30. So it goes up. I'm just going to do it 0.5 on each starting. So their line is here. I'll do it one by one. And Jennifer may start feeling something. She may only feel something in a certain area, or it may feel like a tingle. So how's it feel, Jennifer? You feel it? So she looks comfortable enough. We're going to turn her up another 0.5. So right now she's actually at 10. Going to be at 10%. Okay, so it's good to communicate with your client and see how they're feeling. How do you feel now, Jennifer?
I feel like sleeping.
Feel like sleeping? Do you feel it all over right now? Okay, so she's having a feeling all over. We're going to turn her up another 5%. And what we want to see a good contraction. So you can adjust this 5% until you get a good contraction on your client. So anyway, this treatment was set up for 20 minutes. You can do up to 20 to 40 minutes for average treatment. We also need to talk about the pulse off and the pulse on. The pulse off is when the contraction, it's rest period. There is no contraction happening. The pulse on is the amount of time they're having the contraction. In this particular case, she's having a 3-second rest period and a 3.5% contraction. She is on like 600. That's how deep it's going in the muscle. That's your frequency selector. And it's important if you change this, that this contraction will be red, because it's going to be off. This is a button indicating that the contraction is off. So we're going to leave her on at 600. She is now on 20%. And I'm going to increase her to another 5%. How's it feeling, Jennifer? You having tickling? And that's what generally happens in the beginning. A lot of people have the tickling, feeling sensation, but you're feeling it everywhere?
Yes.
She has feeling of all of it. Okay, looking at Jennifer right now, you can see she's having a really good contraction. So we need not to really even go up any higher on her. So she's getting a good treatment. I forget. So if you weren't getting a good contraction, you would consider going up higher. You could actually consider going deeper. But in Jennifer's case, she is at a good stage where we could just keep her at this level at this time. We're going to do a more advanced abdominal protocol now. This is a crisscross and the obliques. This is for inch loss, toning. Again, we're doing these, just putting the, I'm not going to go over that either. Cut that out. So remember, like I talked about before, you want to remember where you put your pads for you know what channel is which. For if you have to adjust, you can. This is number 1, and we're going to do positive on top. Negative on top, positive on the bottom in a crisscross. For now it's pulling this way. Channel 2. Negative, positive. And then we're going to go and do our obliques like we did on the first one protocol. So they're just going to be going up and down, being the negative on top and the positive on the bottom. So just remember that the positive always pulls towards the negative. Also, I wanted to mention that I did not, is to make sure when you do put the plates in, they're all the way in the pad. Because if they're out, touching the skin, it just isn't real pleasant. Yeah, that's a little tight, huh? Negative, positive. This is the hookup. Okay, also if you want to incorporate a back treatment with this, you can also do so. You just turn around there, Jennifer, and you can just do up and down. Put like 4 pads in here. You would have your negative and positive, negative and positive. It would just be up and down. No crisscross on the back. Okay, so the other protocol that I did, the abdominal protocol, when we did the crisscross, I just wanted to mention that the different kind of contraction you're getting is you're squeezing in. It's going pulling in, where the first one was pulling up. So this crisscross is pulling in. Now this protocol is more advanced and it's for more muscle toning and tightening. So what this is going to do is going to be squeezing front to back. So you're just going to get a total in squeeze like this. Because all the positive will be in the front and all the negative will be in the back. So like I told you before, positive always goes towards the negative. So it's going to be like getting a really good sit-up. So the hookup for that is as follows. So positive and front. Remember your channel placement. This will be number 1. And if we turn around, Jennifer, there, the negative is going to be down here. So it's going to be like a crisscross from the back. Front, back. So basically what it does, it's not only like front to back, but it's actually crisscrossing too towards the back. This is a very advanced abdominal hookup. So this would be channel 2. Okay, let's go the same way and we'll. So then I put this one this way again. One in the front and the back. Sorry, this is kind of difficult. Front towards the back. Now your third channel will be again positive here. Your negative will be on the top towards her left. And the fourth channel, again you have your positive and the lower. Let's go this way. And on the upper, crisscrossing on the upper right. Now we're going to do the obliques with this protocol. So the obliques, they do not get crisscrossed. They will go up and down, and you have the negative on the top and the positive on the bottom in this. So just like we did on the other ones with the obliques. So the negative will go here, and the positive below that, because then it's going to pull up in this way. And the last pad placement, negative on top, positive on the bottom. That's your hookup. So now this is all going to squeeze in. She's going to get a really good contraction. And this is advanced abdominal hookup.
Perfect.
Okay, now we're going to do the butt and thigh protocol. So I'm going to have Jennifer come in here. Jennifer, you can just lie down here. So what you do, you want them to be lying face down on their belly. I might have to just lift up a little bit, Jennifer. Perfect, okay. Put the strap. We're going to have 2 straps on the butt. I'm going to lift up a little bit more. Thank you. So you have 2 straps on the butt. Just move your underwear up a little. Lift a little bit more, Jennifer. Perfect. Okay. All right. So after you get your 2 straps on, what we're going to do, there's a couple protocols for the buttocks. And one is an up and down and a crisscross. First of all, I'm going to show you one of the protocols that is more a basic. What it does, it squeezes this way, where the other crisscross will squeeze this way on each side of the cheek. Okay, this is the protocol. Again, for the buttocks and the thighs. What I'm going to do is show you one of the protocols and the hookups. It's for tightening, toning, cellulite, and butt lifting. So again, we always have the negative on the top. And the positive on the bottom. And what you want to do is you're going to put 4 pads on one cheek. Again, up and down. Negative on top, positive on the bottom. This is going to give that squeeze going up like this. It's going to give that squeeze this way. Again, negative on top, positive on the bottom on the other side of the cheek. Negative on top, positive on the bottom. That's how you do the buttock cutter. Now we're going to do the inner thighs. With the inner thigh, you're going to have the positive in the inner part of the thigh, because the positive always goes towards the negative. So I will show you after I get the hook up here. Let's put the Jennifer, I just need to lift the leg here. Put the strap on around the thigh up close, just like that. Okay, so when we do inner thighs, the positive goes right up as far as you can get. And the negative on the outer part of the thigh. This way, the squeeze will be pulling this way, and this will be working the inner thigh. And you would do the same for the other side. And you can always, if you don't have another strap that will go around, you can put the straps together. You can make straps bigger by using more than one strap. And I just Velcro together like that. Okay, Jennifer, just want to lift your other leg there. And that's how that works. So it sticks right together. Again, positive in the inner part of the thigh. And make sure that, of course, it's this way and the cable's going down by the leg for it's not awkward. And you can get that pad right up in there. And the negative on the outer aspects. Again, you're going to get the squeeze, and it's all going to be working the inner thigh because it's going this way. It's pulling towards the negative. And that is the hookup for a basic buttock protocol. Okay, now we're going to do the advanced buttock protocol. And with this, we're going to use the disposable pads. So there are sticky pads, and they're disposable. They're for one client use. So when you do this, they're already on this little thing sticking on there. So what you want to do is put them on the cable, pressing it on like this, because you don't want to press down on the client while you have the pads on. And then just peel it off. And for this one, we're going to do a crisscross on the butt. The last one was up and down. This one's going to be crisscrossing. So you're going to have channel 1. Remember again to remember your channels where they're placed. Channel 1 is going to be here and here. So you're going to actually crisscross like that. So that's channel 1. Channel 2, again, you're going to do the same thing. Negative on your top. And positive on the bottom. So you get one of them just crisscrossing. So it's going to go this way. It's going to pull in. So you have 2 channels. This is channel number 3. We're going to go over to the other cheek and do the same thing. Negative on top, positive crisscross on the bottom. There you go. That's channel 3. Channel 4. Same thing, negative on top. Positive on the bottom and a crisscross just like that. Now we can also add, I mean, some people have a lot of excess here. You can also add more onto the hip area. And we're going to place 2 on the sides. We're not going to crisscross anything with this. This is going to be up and down. So doing the up and down, we're going to have, of course, the negative on top. Why? Because positive pulls towards the negative. This is a very intense but really good workout. We're going to do the same on the other side. Negative on top. And positive on bottom. Okay, as you can see now, we use 6 channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the SX-50, we have 8 channels. So what we can do, we did the inner thighs on the last hookup. Now I'm going to show you how you can do the outer thighs. So it's pretty much the opposite then. We're going to take the red, which is the positive, will be on the outer because red pulls towards a negative. So here we just on the outer aspect of her thigh. And this one will go in her inner thigh. And you want to just spread your leg a little bit, Jen. And get right in there. Put it right up in her inner thigh. This is channel 7. So you have 1 more channel, so we're going to do the other side of her thigh. Again, doing the outer thigh, which means the red on the outer thigh and the negative in the inner thigh. Okay, Jen, this. So this is going to pull in. So you're going to be working the outer thigh. Now, if you wanted to not do the thighs, you could have did the back. Because you would have had 2 more channels and you could have did up and down on the back. It all depends what your client wants. So this is 8 channels. So this is going to be quite a workout. Okay, now we're going to start the treatment. And we want to make sure she's going to I have her set as a 20-minute treatment. And for this is our contraction. This is pulse off, which means it's rest period. So I have that at 3, and her contraction time is going to be 3.5 seconds. Frequency, which is how deep it's going to go in, is I'm setting that at 1,000. So that's where we're starting. And as you can see, all my everything is off on here. So what I want to do before I turn this on, any of this on, I'm going to hit start button and it's going to start. So you hit start. And I'm going to turn it all to 0. It's always good to start doing it all as a 0 before you start doing the initial treatment. So now I'm going to turn it up 5%. And you want to talk to your client, of course. Do you feel anything, Jennifer?
Yes.
Yes. So that's a very low setting, so we're going to go up another 5%. So now we'll be at 10%. And we want a nice contraction. And remember, these disposable pads, they are more conducting than your non-disposable. Okay, so it's always important to communicate with your client. Jennifer, how are you feeling?
That's good.
She's feeling good. So we want to, we're going to increase the intensity a little, up to 5 more %. And what we're looking, of course, we're looking for a contraction. So being at the frequency at 1,000, I think I'm going to now do a little more challenging, put her down to 600. And remember, it's important when you're changing the frequency that this current is off. So just wait till that's off. That way they just don't get any, it's a nice smooth transaction. How does that feel, Jennifer? So just get to check out and see what kind of contraction they're having. I'm going to challenge her a little bit more and give her 5% more on the frequency of 600. So she now will be on 20% at a frequency of 600. She's starting to get a contraction now, as you can see. So you should be feeling something a little different now, Jennifer.
Yes.
How does that feel?
Yeah, I feel it.
So maybe there could be a time where everyone innervates differently. So if I want to, say, her right side, excuse me, that would be her left. Her left side is not... maybe not getting as much contraction as the other. What I can do, I can just go ahead and turn the left side up, on which I remember that my channels are 1 and 2 on that. So go ahead and just put up to 25%. As you can see, she's getting a nice contraction. I think let's give her up to 25 all the way around. The lowest you can do on these pads would be a frequency of 400. You do not want to go to 200. We don't recommend it, and it's really not needed. As far as our non-disposable pads, you can go to 200, but these ones we don't recommend, and you don't need to go down to 200 for the frequency. And you can see she's getting a nice contraction. How it's pulling in. See how it does that? She's getting a good contraction. Even her legs. Her legs are getting nice. So at this point, she's at 25%. I could bring her down to 400. So Jennifer, just to let you know want to talk to them. You know that I'm going to be making it go deeper in the muscle. So I'm going to put you down, and you're going to feel it go deeper. So you remember, make sure that's red before you turn that frequency. So now she's got a nice squeeze. She's getting a good contraction. How does that feel, Jennifer?
Yeah, it feels fine.
You can feel that contraction,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this is the furthest I'd go down, because I would not use 200 like I just said previously. But what I could do is I could, turn the intensity up, give her more of a workout. So just because we can, we're just going to go up to 30%. We're going to give her another 5%. And you have to communicate with them. If it's, good and they're fine at that level, then they're fine, and you're getting a good contraction. You're getting everything you want. So it's working. And you can see the contraction increasing just by me putting this intensity up 5% more. She's getting a great workout. So at this time, I could just leave it for her treatment. It all depends. Even if she's a new client, you may not want to just, work her up to a higher intensity when she comes in. I mean, it's all feedback from your client. It's important to educate them and talk to them and communicate throughout. And after the workout, make sure they drink water before and after the treatments too. Okay, so I had this set for a 20-minute treatment, but I'm not going to go through the whole treatment. But if what you need to do, like again, educate your client, talk to them, communicate. I could go up higher with them, all depending on the comfort of the client. So it's the key important of communication. Okay, now I want to tell you the importance of how to remove these pads. They're different than the other ones. To maintain and keep the quality of the pads, it's important to take care of them, because this is for each client, they're going to have their own pad. So you take it off and then place it. There's this piece of plastic that they come with. And what you need to do is gently, pop them off like that. Especially when they're new and the cables are new, they get a little tight. So you just want to be careful to hold this and then pop it off. And I'll show you again on this one. Again, just place it on this plastic. There was something else I wanted to mention about these pads for keep the quality care is to make sure they don't have any oils or lotions on there, because that will help preserve the pads. Clean them off with a little alcohol or whatever to maintain that. That way you'll keep your pads cleaner and they will last longer. And just to get up here and see this, they come off. Because you don't want to take them off while they're still on the client. Just like you wouldn't want to put the cable on when you're starting the treatment, because it just pushes down on them. So it's really important to do it this way. So you just got to pull them. Okay, we're going to now show you the arm protocol. There's the bicep and the triceps. And using our disposable pads once again, if I'm going to be doing the bicep, I'm going to use the positive on the top of her arm like this, on the bicep. And the negative will be behind, it'll be the triceps. If you have a larger arm, you can actually double up if you need to. But on Jennifer, we only need to use one. So that's the hookup for that, for the bicep.
All right.
Okay, we're going to start the arm protocol. We're actually going to do the treatment. I have her set for 20 minutes. Remember, this is a smaller muscle group. So, of course, we're going to start her out at a frequency of 1,000. So she's not a very big girl, so 1,000 is going to be a perfect level to start with her. And we're going to keep with the 3-second rest period, and we're going to go with the 3.5 contraction. So for all that being said, we only have one channel, so you only have to use one channel. But of course, if you were doing a full treatment, you would do this on the same arm, and you'd be utilizing 2 channels. So working out the bicep now, we're going to start. Don't forget to hit the start button. And now turn this on to 0. And we're going to start her out with 5%. It's just important to keep your arm nice and straight too, and let them go with the contraction. With all the muscle groups that we do, we want everyone to go with the contraction, not to fight it, and not doing a lot of talking when they're doing the treatment. It's just like a relaxing atmosphere where they can just enjoy the treatment and they're more relaxed. So we're going to shoot her up to 10%. Remember, always communicate with them. Like, Jennifer, how are you feeling?
Good.
You're starting to feel something now?
Yes.
And if you can see, her arms moving a little bit, getting a contraction going on. Already at 10% at 1,000 frequency. So we're going to bring her up again, another 5%, 15. See how that contraction went? How does that feel,
Yeah,
Jennifer?
strong.
Strong? Yeah. So for her, I mean, I have her at 15%, frequency of 1,000. I may leave her at 1,000. She's getting a really good contraction on 15%. And that's why, again, it's important to watch the contraction and speak and communicate with your client. Could you go up any more, Jennifer? No? I have her at 1,000. So in this particular case, and I think I might leave her at 1,000 and more into the treatment longer. Maybe I would go up a little bit later, but you have to, everyone kind of gets used to it as you turn up the intensity. But she seems to be okay at this point. And remember, this is a small muscle group. So it's different than doing the abdomen or the butt or the thighs. Okay, now if I wanted to do the tricep, I would just reverse this. Just like doing the inner thighs and outer thighs. The tricep, we don't work at all. We can go around all day and we won't ever work our triceps. So to do that, you have to use the positive towards the tricep, on the tricep, and the negative on the bicep. Because why? The positive always pulls towards the negative. So that would get her a workout on her triceps that way. Okay, now I'm going to show you some protocols with just the leg, like the hamstrings, the inner outer thigh. I know I showed you the inner outer thigh, and you can use the disposo, non-disposo on these protocols again. What I'm going to do is do the inner thigh. So of course the red, which is the positive, goes in inner because it's going to pull towards the negative. Now I want to do the hamstrings. And this one you're going to have the negative on top, the positive on the bottom, because of course we want it to pull up. So it's going to be pulling up, and this is going to be squeezing this way. So we want to work that up. We never want to go down, right? Gravity already did that for us, so we want everything lifted up. So positive on the bottom, negative on top. And you can actually use this for your quadricep, but with the same hookup, with the negative and the positive below, because it just pulls up. And you can change this. You can use work the outer thigh, and the red would be here, and the negative would be here, just like I had told you previously in the other protocol. Okay, just to recap this, I have channel 1, which I hooked up the inner thighs, channel 2 for the hamstrings, and of course you would do the same hookup on the other side of the leg. Okay, I just want to show you a quick hookup on the quadriceps. Basically pretty easy. Just put the negative on top of the quad, and then you can put the positive below that, right on the quad. And this is going to pull up. So all this, of course, is going to pull up because positive goes towards the negative. I'm not going to go through the whole treatment. I'm just going to show you a few features. I think we're going to start. We got everything set up. We got her on 1,000 for her frequency. I'm going to leave it there for now. And we can turn this on at 5%. We'll start again. So you can see everything's going. Everything's working. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go through this whole protocol. The importance of this now to you is showing you how to shut off the machine before you even remove the pads. It's like a safety thing. So the machine is going, so you can actually stop it. Turn this off. That's off. Everything's golden. The timer stopped. Now you can actually go and take off the pads, and everything is safe. And